Hello, welcome. It's still Fallout 4, but I'm gonna be doing this in a bit of a different format. It's base building, and since building this base took me 3 hours and 45-ish minutes, I decided to, instead of showing you 10 episodes of me building a base, just try to crunch it all down to one. So, I spent like an hour and a half at first just scrapping stuff down, and finding things that I want to keep in the town. But I tried to keep the original house, or Steve's original house, as similar to how it was in the beginning as possible, just getting rid of all the broken stuff and all of the stuff that I didn't like being there. But I kept things like the washer and dryer and the old Mr. Handy box, and Sean's crib around, just to provide some more of the similar aesthetics or whatever that were there pre-war. I've probably got some weird classical music from the game or something playing on right now. I don't know if that's going to be copyright or not, but either way it doesn't really matter since I'm not making any money from this anyways, but it's just, this is the classical music from the game. But it's not the classical music from Futurama that's actually like 90s hip-hop or whatever. Futurama, jeez. I also tried to keep either most of or all of the trees that I could in the town, just so it has a bit of a, I guess, not as empty feeling to the town. I don't know. But I got rid of all the junk trees and all the trees that are fallen down that I noticed. But there are probably still more of those lying around the town somewhere, because there were just a ton of them. You don't seem to be able to scrap all the houses in the game, but there are a lot of houses that are completely collapsed that you can't get into that you can scrap, and those just give you a ton of stuff. And there's also a lot of stuff that I think looks nice, but you can't build it, like safes and salt shakers and toasters and things that I left around. And after I was finished scrapping all the stuff in Sanctuary, which was like an hour and a half, I went to Red Rocket Place and scrapped all that stuff there so that I could bring it back to Sanctuary and build more things up there. But I also don't plan on building a civilization in Red Rocket because it's not really big or anything, so I don't think people would want to be there or be able to fit enough people in there. I also kept the parts for the horse thingy, the Giddy Up Buttercup, because I don't know if you'll be able to build one of those eventually, but I think that would be really cool. So I'm just gonna keep all the parts for that and see if eventually maybe I can build it, who knows. Alright, so let's get to the actual base building. So for every one person you have, in order for them to be happy, they want 1 food, 1 water, 1 defense, and 1 bed. But it's typically a good idea to have more beds than you have people, and you want the defense to equal the amount of food and water combined. Power doesn't really matter. That's just, you need as much power as you need to power all the equipment that you build, like water purifiers and stuff. If you don't have as much defense as you have food and water combined, you have a higher chance of being attacked. And being attacked means sad citizens. So going along with getting food, there's this stuff called vegetable starch, which takes 3 corn, 3 mute fruit, purified water, and 3 potatoes. And whenever you break it down, it gives you 5 adhesive. So what I've noticed, the adhesive is pretty rare, and I'm always running out of it whenever I'm trying to make guns. So I went to the nearest farm, which was Abernathy Farm, and picked up some potatoes, because that's the first ingredient. There's also a radiation storm going on at that time, which, those are terrible. I mean, you're walking along and then all of a sudden, radiation storm for like 5 minutes, and you just take radiation damage, and I don't know, it's a lot of radiation damage, so it can pretty much put you out of a fight pretty quickly, if there's one of those going on. But I don't know if there's a way to get out of those. And then after I got all those potatoes, I went back and planted them to build up some food. Also, Abernathy Farm didn't have any of the other ingredients, just had potatoes and melons, and I think I left the melons behind. And I guess a tato is like a tomato potato thing? I don't really know, but it's red, and it's sort of shaped like a potato. Not really, but like several potatoes combined together, I guess? I don't know. Somebody had automatically been assigned to those, so I had 6 food after I planted those, which was enough. So then I went off to Grey Gardens, which is a place run by robots. I heard about it from somebody in town. But if you look, it's pretty far away from Sanctuary, and I managed to not run into anything in between there. But they had corn and mute fruit and more potatoes to harvest. So if you're looking for a place to get all the ingredients for making starch, I can recommend Grey Gardens. So I went back and changed up the layout of the farm and assigned a new farmer. It also was pretty frustrating because I couldn't assign the farmers to specific things, like one person just do mute fruit and one person just do potatoes. They seemed to do whatever the heck they wanted. Eventually I ended up gathering the chemistry station, the cooking station, the armor workbench, the weapons workbench, and the power armor workbench all on the back porch of my house to try and keep all of those in the same area. You can't move the workbench that allows you to construct all the furniture and stuff, but you don't really need it because you can access the inventory of it through any of the other workstations, and you can access the building by either holding V or holding middle mouse button. The Scrapper perk allows you to break down items or weapons and armor and get more stuff out of them, so I didn't break down any of those, but I did end up getting the Gun Nut perk so I can build better turrets and better gun mods. I did also increase Steve's intelligence so that I could unlock the Science perk, because that allows you to build better base technologies and stuff. I decided to build a single bunkhouse for everyone rather than individual houses for them because they are happy no matter what. But all the stuff snaps together and I find it easier to place the floors and then the walls. Then I decided to build kind of an interesting roof by putting the curved bit in the middle and then regular bits on the outside, but it looked weird and there was a gap on the outside, so I scrapped that idea and put a normal roof on. And then I just put 5 beds down because I happened to have enough beds, 1 per person with the cloth that I had, which was lucky. And then I decided to put a turret up so that I have at least some defense enough to keep everybody happy instead of, I don't know if people leave if they're not happy or what. But also at some point I put down water pumps so that they would have water inside just in case the future outside water got destroyed. Also a bell so that I can call all of them to the town hall anytime I need them. Also a Brahmin feed trough because you never know when you're gonna get a future Brahmin. Huh. And then scavenging stations, which I believe will allow your citizens to get scrap for you, like nuts and bolts and gears and stuff in the future. So I put 2 of those down and assigned the last 2 people that don't have jobs to that. And then I made sure everybody had equipment, because you can't go out there and have everybody just wearing whatever the heck they want. They need to be wearing stuff that'll protect them more. For constructing the front gate, it was a bit finicky getting the door onto the piece of wood at first, just because the bridge was in the way. And you can kind of move stuff a little bit into like clipping something after you connect it to a floor. Just a little bit though. I decided to build it to where there's a choke point that all the people attacking will have to come to, instead of being able to attack anywhere from the river, because I think they only attack from this side because there's really nothing behind the base, because you're in the northwest corner of the map. So I decided to build a choke point, so the best way I could do that is to build a wall that blocks the entire bridge and a door as the only point you can come through, and then I'll have turrets on top. And hopefully they'll mow down any attackers before they actually get to the town and have to get my people involved in any sort of way. But I don't actually know how effective these are, and they may just get destroyed by snipers before they even manage to shoot anything. After that, I built a big old wall around the entire front of my base to block off the river so that nobody can just walk up. Again, I don't know if these walls are destructible or if they'll even try to destroy them, but hopefully they'll keep somebody at bay. So to get the purified water for the vegetable starch, you can build a water purifier. I chose to build the largest water purifier there is, which takes all the power the medium generator can output. These are both target points for raiders to destroy, so you need to make sure both of them are well defended. I did not well defend my water purifier at all, because it's just sitting in the middle of the river, which is kind of hard to build buildings around, or defensive structures. And I was having a hard time getting the generator behind the wall, but I eventually found a method that worked by putting down a door frame and then running the cable through it to the water purifier. And this water purifier provides more water than your town will ever need. Each settlement can only hold 20 people. There's a base of 10 and then 1 per charisma point that you have. If you only have 1 charisma point, you can have a maximum of 11 people. If you have 5 charisma points, maximum of 15, etc. And my final venture was to decorate my house. So I decided to live in the original Steve house because, I don't know, I felt kind of sentimental about it. So of course I put a bed down that, you know, the townspeople are inevitably going to try to sleep in because this is going to be the nicest house in the neighborhood, and they're going to want to take it from me, but I'll just keep having to reassign them until, you know, I max out the number of citizens. So I put a bunch of storage things down that I thought looked pretty cool, and, you know, maybe eventually they'll get some use. I also put up flags because there are no curtains, so I put those up to give myself a little bit more privacy because, you know, whenever I'm wearing those red dresses on Friday nights, I like to have a little bit of privacy or whatever. All of this stuff just takes up the size meter up there, but I have plenty of that to spare, it seems, and if I want to fill it up anymore or take stuff away, there's plenty of stuff around the neighborhood that I can still delete. Also, you can put down radios, which will tune to either Diamond City or Classical Station, which it's pretty good, right? All of the magazines and books that are on the ground in this place that I didn't pick up need a place to go, so the obvious answer is a magazine rack. Don't worry, I'll pick them up later. After haphazardly covering the walls in paintings and junk, I decided I was done decorating and wanted to move on to electricity and stuff. Powering your house is a little bit different than powering all the other stuff in your base, because you don't want to have wires just running throughout your house and a generator in every room. So typically, you just put a generator outside and put some power conduits on the outside of your house. And the way these power conduits work is you hook up a wire from the generator to them, and then they magically power a certain area around them. I ran a bunch of cables around the house trying to get all the corners, paying attention obviously to all health code safety and not putting wires where I'm going to trip over them, you know, right in front of my door. But it's okay because there's special ghost wires that pass through physical objects. TVs work, they don't seem to really have any purpose right now. I think it would be pretty cool if they played the special videos that Bethesda released, that play whenever you launch the game, but right now I'm just standing by. Although lights aren't necessary because the game doesn't really get that dark at night, although there are already mods to add darker nights, but I decided to add the lights because it adds a nice atmosphere to the place. And we all know how much of a party animal Codsworth is, so I decided to spruce up his old room, which of course is the laundry room, and put in a disco ball so he can have all kinds of parties in here. Then I just put up a bunch more lights. And finally called it good. There's still a lot of stuff that I want to do around the base. Obviously I have a lot more space to build things in. I may end up posting another one of these videos, maybe a couple of them, later on whenever I end up building up my base a bit more. So it was a new format. Let me know what you think about it, if I should change any things for the next building fiascos. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.